So this is I'm Telling You with Kelly Hinkle. I'm Kelly Hinkle, aka the Down East Cowboy. I travel all over the state of Maine, going anywhere and everywhere, sharing my adventures, sharing the stories, sharing the things that I get to see, talking about the people I get to meet, and it's just full of amazing things. Maine and beyond. New England's amazing thing. We got a pretty cool trip coming up here, and the podcast is going to go way beyond Maine and kind of share that. And I'll be guest starring with my wife on the next podcast. So I'm super excited about that too, as well. We'll be sharing about our adventures coming up. But let's get to this episode of the podcast. So it's going to be about facts about Maine, unusual laws, and just a little brief overview about Maine, just to kind of get that out there. I know people that really follow Maine probably know a lot of these things. Maybe they don't, but this is why the podcast is here, to try to better educate people, share about experiences, share some facts, share some history. So this is all about kind of Maine, different facts, different things, random things of that nature, some unusual laws. And don't worry, there's some of this that's going to be going on in the podcast that I think I'm going to actually break up and have its own little episode, because I think there's some really cool stuff in here. So let's get at it. So Maine is famous for many things, including its seafood, coastlines, and other attractions. Seafood. Maine is known for its lobsters, which is considered one of the world's most prized delicacies. I'm a lobster fisher myself. It means a lot to me just to be on the list of things Maine's known for. Maine produces most of the lobsters in the United States. Maine is also known for clams. Wild blueberries. Maine is famous for its wild low bush blueberries, which are used in many foods and spa treatments all around the world. Now, coastlines. Let's talk about coastlines. Maine is known for its rocky Atlantic Ocean and bayshore coastlines. Just that jagged, rugged coastline. Now, lighthouses. Maine has a lot of lighthouses. Some include Portland Head Light, which is the oldest lighthouse in Maine. There's other attractions in Maine as well. And some of those other attractions would be including the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens, Gunkwood Beach, Cape Nubble Lighthouse, Perkins Cove, and there's so many different ones other than just right around southern Maine, which is mostly what people see about. You got the Old Port, Mount Batty, Mount Desert Island, and there's so many amazing places. You got Moosehead Lake, Greenville. There's just so many different other places that they're known for. But one of the other things Maine's known for is the whoopie pie. The whoopie pie is Maine's official state treat. It's made of two chocolate cake-like rounds with a white cream filling. Maine's also known for the machine gun inventor. Maine is home to the inventor of the person who made the machine gun, which was on a previous podcast of mine. You got the breadbasket of New England. Maine was once known as the breadbasket of New England. So some other interesting facts. Maine has a population over 1 million people. It's about 320 miles long and about 210 miles wide. It has the total area of approximately 33,215 square miles. Maine has over 21,000 miles of public highways, exceeding the total mileage of any other New England state. That's pretty impressive if you really think about it, and the amount of driving we do to get out of here really explains it. It also is as big as almost all the 5 other states in New England put together. Maine's a really big state when you really look at it. It has one county, which is a rustic county. Well, it has 16 counties, but one county is so big, it's 6,453 square miles, and that actually covers an area that's greater than combined the size of Connecticut and Rhode Island. That's just one county, a rustic county. They call it the county, big for potatoes there. Maine also claims America's first chartered town, which is York. And it was chartered in 1641, and there's been debates for a very long time, obviously, about that. Maine's just full of a lot of different unique things, and there's a lot of really cool facts. It's recognized as one of the most healthful, beautiful, and interesting states in the nation. Has 17 million acres of forest land and 3,500 miles of a beautiful coastline that is just unbelievable. Now that's including bays, coves, and similar things of that nature, which Maine has a really cool coastline. It's beautiful. It also has 2,295 square miles of inland water area and over 2,000 coastal islands. Maine is one of America's largest blueberry growing states. It raises 90% of the low bush blueberries in North America. And anytime I put a post on social media, it's a big debate. But low bush, 90% of that comes right here from Maine. Now let's talk about Aroostook County. Potatoes. Potatoes rank third in acreage and fourth in production nationally. That's really impressive when you really think about that, overall about all of Aroostook County. That's where those potatoes are coming from. Mount Katahdin, it's 1 mile high. It's 5,268 feet above sea level. And it's a big deal to hike Mount Katahdin. I've never done that. It's on my bucket list to do. I know a lot of friends that have done it. And it's nationally famed for the fine taste, texture, fresh color of seafood, superior traits due to all the cool, clear waters while providing the perfect environment. Maine boasts for 6,000 lakes and ponds, 5,100 rivers and streams, abounding landlocked salmon, trout, smallmouth bass, pickerel, and perch. Maine is full of opportunities no matter what you're into. If you like food, Maine's got great food. If you like hiking, you like fishing, Maine has that stuff to offer. And it makes a variety of products from toothpicks to destroyers. You heard me, toothpicks to destroyers. Bath Iron Works makes some amazing chips. And it's also home to more than 25 ski areas, including nationally known Sugarloaf USA, which has 9,000-foot gondola line. And very impressive to go up there. You know the sticker if you've ever been in Maine or you know anything about skiing. And it has 436,064 acres of state national parks, including the 92-mile Allagash Wilderness Waterway in northern Maine. Full of different parks, beautiful parks, Baxter, Acadia, so many really cool parks all over. And it's just full of natural assets like lakes, beaches, mountains, the seacoast. And it just makes Maine a very remembrance place to go. I mean, that's why they call it vacation land. So Maine has some crazy laws. Gambling is not allowed at the Biddeford Airport. Gambling is fun in moderation, but don't try it at the Biddeford Airport. An article in the Biddeford Code of Ordinance forbids engaging in behavior that causes a nuisance, including gambling, disorderly behavior, and drunk behavior. So if you're coming to Biddeford, you can't be gambling at the airport. That's one of the crazy laws that Maine has. One of the most interesting ones, I think, is about Ellsworth, Maine. Ellsworth city laws supersede federal or state laws. Now, it's pretty crazy if you really think about this. So some of the weirdest laws you're bound to find are the ones that seem to contradict the other laws. And that certainly seems to be the case when we talk about Ellsworth and everything going on with that. Because allegedly, Ellsworth laws has its own ordinance in the city and everything, and it's stringier than any of the federal or state laws, and Ellsworth laws supersedes them. So I never fully understood that, the city could have more power than the state or the federal government, but that's one of those laws. And one of my favorite, most unusual law is South Berwick Dunkin' Donuts. So you can't park in front of that Dunkin' Donuts in South Berwick. So if you're from Maine, you probably love Dunkin' Donuts. You like to drink coffee, your iced coffees. And there's probably over 150 locations in Maine. But if you're trying to go in the morning, you cannot go to South Berwick and park in front of the store. It's a law. It's enforced. So just FYI if you're there. So another crazy, unusual law is in Wells, Maine. You cannot advertise in the cemeteries in Wells, Maine. Folks in Wells, Maine take the upkeep for the cemeteries very, very seriously. So they actually have different codes prohibiting littering in the cemeteries, operating snowmobiles, trail bikes, and anything like that in the cemeteries. And removing a person's remains also is on there, just in case you're wondering. But you cannot have any signs, no advertisement, no lawn care, anything like that. Roller skating on Biddeford sidewalks, that's punishable by a fine. So you can walk the sidewalks in Biddeford, no problem there, but you cannot be rollerblading, you cannot be on a bicycle, you can't be doing any of those kind of things on the sidewalk. It's just made for walking. So don't be putting on your rollerblades and trying to break the rules because it's going to cost you. I believe the ordinance is about $10, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but it is a fine. At the end of the day, these are laws that are in Maine, that are enforced, believe it or not. One of the other laws, it's about lobsters. So you cannot catch a lobster barehanded in the state of Maine. Now, we all know Maine is famous for their lobsters. It is, right up there next to blueberries and potatoes. Lobster is that iconic seafood of Maine, and you cannot catch those barehanded. And I know everyone loves steamed lobsters, lobster rolls, and lobster chowder, and whatever it may be, but you cannot catch those barehand. That's just the way the law is. You have to have a license, whether it's a commercial or recreation, to be able to do that. And Maine laws regarding lobster in place protect the population. So, avoid trying to catch a lobster barehanded, putting a dive suit on or just trying to catch it anyway, because there's a lot of laws when it comes to lobsters all by itself. And that's going to be a different podcast episode coming up in the future. So let's talk about poker in the state of Maine. So winning $3 in a Maine poker game is the limit. So you can play poker, you can put some money on it, that's fine, but it cannot exceed over $3. It's is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. So now, granted, I know there are some people that play that game, and it's a little more than $3, but legally in the state of Maine, poker, you can only win up to $3. So that's one of those laws here in Maine. And one of the other very odd law is an alligator. So in Maine, you can have a pet alligator. The only thing is you cannot walk the alligator out on the street. That's, a subsection of the law, rule, whatever you want to call it. But so very crazy to think that you can own alligator legally. There's restrictions and stuff to exotic animals like armadillos, elephants, venomous snakes, and kangaroos, and other turtles and stuff like that. But you can have an alligator. All good. So there's some really crazy laws. I may dive in and do a bigger podcast just about some laws, but I'm going to leave you on this one when it comes to laws. Butting your landlord in Rumford is a big no-no. No one likes rent hikes, but you can't bite your landlord in Rumford. So this is just kind of a quick, this is what's going on, and, some facts, some unusual laws and rules and stuff like that. And I got some fun stuff coming up here in the future. So until next time, get at it, have fun, keep being you. And if you have an idea for a podcast, a subject, or anything like that, shoot me a message in the comments or hit me up at downiescowboy.com and let's get at it. So until next time, have a good day, good night, good morning, and get at it.